The war in the Middle East. Israeli airstrikes pummeled southern Lebanon today, including Beirut suburbs, despite U.S. objections over the scope of the bombing campaign. Since Israel escalated the war against Hezbollah, the Lebanese government estimates more than 1,500 people have died and more than 1 million have been displaced. The acting leader of Hezbollah states the Lebanese militant group will ramp up attacks on Israel following an airstrike on an apartment in Lebanon earlier this week. This comes as the Biden administration warns Israel to increase humanitarian aid in Gaza or risk losing access to American weapons funding. And for more on the situation, let's bring in Aaron David Miller, who is a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He is a Middle East expert, author, and former negotiator. Aaron, thank you so much for your time today. We always appreciate it. A number of media outlets are reporting that Israel will carry out its retaliatory attack on Iran before the U.S. election. What do you think will happen? And if so, what type of impact would that have on the race?
I think that's right. I think the Israelis, again, they're responding to the October 1st strike of 180 plus ballistic missiles. Of at least 50 of them actually got through and impacted. Fortunately, there were only 2 Israelis were lightly wounded, and a Palestinian and a man in Jericho was killed by falling interceptor or missile debris. I think the Israelis will respond. I think it'll be in October. It'll be before the election. I think their target's set right now, again, according to reporting out of Washington and Israel, the Israelis will confine themselves to military targets, ballistic missile launchers, production facilities, maybe Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, command and control facilities. But the Israeli Minister of Defense is arguing that, or saying that the attack will be deadly, precise, and surprising, which makes you wonder what other targets they have in mind. Then the question is, how will the Iranians respond? If they respond the way they did on October 1st or in a heavier way, I think we're then on the cusp of an escalatory cycle that could literally create a multi-front war with very unpredictable and dangerous consequences, including U.S. involvement.
Yeah, I also want to turn now and talk about Gaza. The Israeli Defense Forces say 50 trucks carrying humanitarian aid entered into Gaza today. It's in response to a letter from the U.S. threatening to cut off military supplies if they didn't comply. The Israeli Defense Minister said that his country will not impose a, quote, starvation plan in Gaza. I want to get your thoughts on that.
You know, I don't think let me begin this way. The Americans sent a similar letter in April. And I would note this letter was not signed by the president or the vice president. It was a letter from the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense to Minister of Strategic Affairs and the Israeli Minister of Defense. I don't think it was intended as a threat. I've heard the word ultimatum released. I don't think that's where we're going with this. In April, the letter, a similar letter, ended up actually producing a pretty positive Israeli reaction, but it was a one-off. And I think what the administration is looking for is a sustained Israeli commitment.
Yeah, one more thing to touch on here. Today, Israel struck near Beirut. This again after the U.S. said that it opposed the bombardment. Do U.S. warnings, do you think, carry any weight at this point?
I mean, they do. Will they outweigh strategic Israeli calculations when it comes to specific strikes? They could. They could create some restraint, but by and large, I think this Israeli government understands that the Biden administration is really boxed in. We're weeks away from one of the most consequential elections in modern American history, and I don't think the Biden administration wants a major fight. Let alone be put in the position where it's somehow forced to restrict or condition assistance to Israel. Once the election is run, however, depending on who wins, the administration may be more inclined during the lame duck period to perhaps present a tougher approach.
Aaron David Miller, always appreciate your time and your insights. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.